Let's go!
Let's go, baby.
We're back. Unfortunately.
We're trapped in this fucking Groundhog's Day.
Every couple of weeks, someone comes and brings us to the digital world and stuffs us in a box and forces us to perform.
Oh, to play this song and dance of D&D content for you whippersnappers out there. Oh man, but where did we leave off? I went on a chase.
You went on a chase. I believe the last thing you did, technically, was get a bunch of euros.
I did get a bunch of euros. I had to nurse my boy Malice back to health. I had to check in on Ion. I think I did a little bit, and now we're bracing for a little chat, a little chitty chat with our boys that we captured.
To really date us in this moment in time, to put a pinpoint on it, today is Samuel L. Jackson's 75th birthday. That's pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Um, happy birthday to the goat,
The man
the myth,
himself,
the myth,
Mr. Motherfucker.
Mister Motherfucker. Um, let me see if I can get my notes here. Oh, can't pull up my notes because can't let the street see the notes. Hang on. And okay, so I got my notes. We're ready to go, and it's Samuel L. Jackson's birthday. Um, will he
Wow,
be
that's in your notes?
will he be referenced in this one shot? Can you tell me that, Ray? Can you tell me that?
We'll find. Well, I'm going to find a way now. I have to.
Oh, do your job. Do your due diligence. Um, but yes, yes. Ray, set the scene. Where am
Taking a real step back for a minute to actually describe what has actually happened in the past ending of the last session, you were awakened in the middle of the night to a number of trepidatious operations happening inside this temple of Iset in the middle of the night. Nothing but tomfoolery and shenaniganery. You found yourself straight in the middle of what seemed to be a number of assassination attempts, is the best way to describe it, I guess. Um, One way to say it is that you managed to stop the assassination of all targets in reality, both on the hand of the Blood Mage executioners and the Spiderling that was going to end said master of executioners as his main target. I will say that every night or so that these events happen, there are a multitude of them, and I want it to be known that you are fully welcome to participate in any of them, Patrick, just depending on where you go and where you are in the middle of the night. But I can't guarantee that something will happen every single night either.
I? So this was a one-off.
This was a one off. You chose your path and you looked into the lives of others during these nights abroad with the map that became so importantly, I guess, prioritized by this spiderling based off of abuse.
The map is broken. Let's be clear.
The map is very specifically meant to be broken. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But now that you know that there's repercussions for those who might abuse it, you can ease a little bit more, I guess. How they're able to pick out these individuals themselves is unknown as we speak, but you seem to be on the way through this tapestry like demiplane and little dimension inside of this chamber that Oslam Durai has brought you to. You start walking towards a cave in your new woolly world form, which feels both familiar and foreign at the same time. You're immediately softer and warmer, but at the same time, you still feel magical potency of all the different sources inside of your body. Oslam himself has taken on a different form as well, looking similar to your own hands and variable body parts that you can foresee from your position. Your Euros look just as delectable in their yarn-like forms.
That's beautiful. I'm hype about that. Can I smell the euros?
Isaiah, you can smell the Euros, and it's a very interesting thing. You are not hungry, but you absolutely feel like you could down this whole plate of them.
And that, class, is what we describe gluttony. I could take these down right now. I could take them down right now. But anyways, I will. I will not. I will stay focused at the task at hand. I will be letting Oslam Durai take point for now for this initial portion of the encounter.
Oslam does trail back ever so slightly to swipe a euro from your tray, and you see him pull out this little almost out of his sleeve. He's got this little bottle. It's like a little green bottle with kind of a skull and crossbones on it, and he just pops the cork on it as he's going by, and dabs about 3 or so dabs on it, and downs the euro before arriving towards the cave.
You said it's a green liquid?
It's a green bottle, I can say that. You
Okay,
don't
gotcha.
necessarily see the liquid itself that comes out, but he does put 3 little drops on it before he corks it back up, hides it away real neatly in his robes, and eats the euro itself, uh, adding a little bit of hot sauce like behavior to him. He definitely has watery eyes ever so slightly afterwards, and seems to have a stash of hot sauce himself.
Man, the first time I try to get diligent about my note taking actively during the session, we're talking about hot sauce. I thought the dude was gonna pull out some like, ooh, it's a secret potion. It's gonna fucking, it's what do they call it in the boys? The V formula or something like that. I'm
Yes,
like,
indeed.
is Oslam
Formula V.
taking? Yeah, is Oslam taking Formula V? Just getting ready to fucking rip through these.
You
Um,
taking V, bro?
oh my gosh, oh my gosh,
You fucking kidding me right now?
are you A Train? Oh God, Oslam, the A Train.
Oh god, you saw right through him.
Oh, I see through
Damn
your
it!
character, Ray. Oh man,
Damn
you're not
it!
slick. You're not slick. But yes, go ahead.
He does notice that you see it, and he just kind of looks at you slyly, and he says, "Not for you, my friend. I'm afraid to say. But if one of our guests has a urge for spice, I'll be sure to torture them and their taste buds with it ever so slightly." Walking towards the cave that was in the landscape of this tapestry, you guys find yourself at the mouth of it. It's rather sizable. The environment past it is far more blurry than anything else that you guys have stumbled across. almost as if to give you the idea that whatever is not displayed in the tapestry is uncharted and possibly unfinished land, depending on how this demiplane works. However, the cave is very clearly drawn, and deep inside, you see two men strung up by their hands, bound in contrition above their heads. They are raised off the ground ever so slightly, dangling in woolly form. Both of them seem to be unconscious as for now, but as you approach, Oslam takes the catering of gyros that you have received and places them underneath their feet. And you see, in cartoonish fashion, the scent smoke, almost like in Looney Tunes, just going up and wrapping themselves seductively around these two individuals as they come to from the sense of smell. Like a classic Tom and Jerry pie, the smoke is like enticing them with, beckoning fingers and hands.
Yeah, it's a Family Guy skit too. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, oh yes, it is. Yeah.
Uh, let's see here. Can I make a perception or investigation check to see if there's anything, sus about the scenery beyond the fact that I am in this painting?
You may make either check if you wish.
I'll do an investigation check. That's better. It's a natural 10 for a 14.
It's very confusing. As what was depicted as earlier, it was a different take on the Nagazi painting. Lacking the individual man that was depicted holding the shield before, this was just the landscape and nothing more. And you don't know anything about this shit. This shit's kind of crazy. It seems strange that Oslam has this, but he's kind of a weird guy, and he's a high-ranking official here. He's going to have some crazy stuff.
He's going to get weird if he needs to.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. When they wake up, what do they notice first? Us or the food?
You see the scent go inside of their masks because you cannot see their face and disappear. I would say that one of them is initially awoken by the scent and makes at least the eye direction of the food itself and doesn't notice you guys immediately. But the one you know is the master who was awakened by the scent immediately has his eyes on not you, but Oslam Durai.
Does... So when you say they wear the mask, I can't see their eyes through the masks.
So the masks themselves are almost like a face framing of a burning head. You can't see any features of the face themselves. You can see the direction in which they look in, but the mask itself is made specifically to hide the identity of the individual performing these crimes, obviously.
Okay.
The masks are slightly different in design. The master's doesn't seem to be more elaborate, just different overall.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Then I think I would let Oslam start the conversation or let the master speak first. I just kind of want to gauge where everyone is at. I also kind of want to see if I want to anticipate like the tones or kind of like the intonations in both of their voices. I kind of want to just see based on how they're speaking to each other, what is the dynamic of their relationship? Do they have a history of any sort or do they know each other?
You do see the two executioners kind of whisper and bicker between each other, just meaningless things of like, don't say anything, remember your training, that type of stuff. And Oslam eventually decides to take the lead and say, I would like this precedent to be noted. You awoke me with a magic that surely would have ended my life in the middle of the night whilst sleeping. How you made it into my quarters without me knowing is unknown to me. And I would like it to be noted that I chose to awaken you with what I would deem to be a most delectable gift. A gift of breakfast for my enemy who is now in my care. I will say, however, this is not my gift to give. I may have funded the exchange, but these delicious euros belong to Isaiah, a man under my watch for now. So he will be the one to decide when you have earned your food. Now, I imagine eating would be very difficult without your mask on. So, I will give you a chance to hide your identity by having 3 of us leave while one of you eats. Whichever one of you will answer me or Isaiah's questions first will be allowed to eat first. How does that sound? And you see both student and master hanging from their wrists, looking in, trying to take in where they are at this moment in time, and just, facing the reality that their reality has changed at this moment. They seem to be in some type of strange enchantment, whether they think it's illusion or some type of strange decision of transmutation, they don't really understand. But they understand that those euros are definitely good. And the student seems to be breaking ever so slightly in his resolve. And eventually pipes up, what do you want to know? Oslam looks over to you. Isaiah, do you have a question for them immediately?
I would look at the master, give the impression that I look into his eyes, obviously, even though I cannot necessarily look into them. And I would say, what did the arachnid creature? What race was that arachnid creature? Could I tell, or do I just know that it's arachnid?
You've never seen it before. You can call it an arachnid creature if you choose to.
Okay, I would just refer to it as an acrid. Ugh. And that. What is the word?
We'll say spiderling. How about that?
Yeah, we'll say spiderling.
Spider.
Um, why the spiderling creature was after you?
The two exchange looks while hanging from their wrists and just eventually come to a unverbal agreement, and just the master speaks up. An unforeseen byproduct, a risk. If I had I known, would have been taken by using the map. I would not have done so.
I would ponder this. Can I give an insight check to know the extent of which he may be telling the truth or being forthwilling with the whole truth?
You may make an insight check on this.
Holy shit. That is a natural 19 for a 24.
Okay. I'm going to say that we're going to mediate the number of insight checks just so that, things don't go from every single question to an insight check. So we're just going to do like a widespread amount of conversation will be covered in one insight check. And with a total of, what was it?
24.
24. Yeah, you're for like this good amount of this conversation, anything you ask him is essentially going to be pretty much dissected easily by you. And him saying that it was an unrealized risk is not a lie by any means, but it's something that dawns on you immediately, is that he knew about the map. He kind of dropped the ball on hiding the information of the fact that he knew about the map, which has just come to within the past few days, and he knew exactly how to use it.
Okay. I would walk closer to them. I would start to approach them slowly. And I would look up at them. I would stand in between both of them if I can. And I would look up at both of them. And their hands are strung up, or.
Yep, they're hanging by their wrists right
Okay.
now.
Okay. And how far off the ground are they again?
Not very far at all. They're like maybe 8 inches at the highest.
Okay. It would be reasonable to say that I could still put my hands on their shoulders, right? They're still in.
Yeah.
That's still within reach. I think I would extend my hands to be on both of their shoulders, and I would look up at them solemnly and say, to make this more comfortable for you guys, let's just be honest with each other here. And I would channel my magic energy through my hands and just like spread it into their bodies, from their shoulders where my hands are, and I'll cast Zone of Truth.
Okay. So you cast Zone of Truth. Let me see. This is an interesting situation here. And I believe that is a wisdom save, correct?
It is a charisma save.
It's a charisma save?
Yes, sir.
What is the DC?
15.
15. Alright. I roll for the student first. Who... Wow. These guys actually have decent charisma saves. They have a +6 each.
Fuck!
Oh, wait, no, that's weird. Hold on. Okay, so the...
Can I make the case that they suffered 1 point of exhaustion and therefore have disadvantage on saving throws? Or wait, is that 2 points of exhaustion?
That's ability checks for the first one. So yeah, the student has a better saving throw than the master, believe it or not.
Ooh, the
He's
Riz.
got a +6.
The Rizzler.
Master has a +5. That is a... What was the DC?
15. 15.
15. That is a 14 for the student.
Natural 14? Or total?
14 total.
Okay.
So
Cool,
he
cool, cool.
fails. The Master... How big is Zone of Truth?
15 feet radius.
15-foot radius? Okay. I'm going to say Oslam just chooses to fail. The Master gets a 14 on the die for a 19.
Okay. So, just to clarify, until the spell ends, a creature that enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there must make a charisma saving throw. On a failed save, a creature can't speak a deliberate lie while in the radius. You know whether each creature succeeds or fails on its saving throw.
Yep.
An affected creature is aware of the spell and can thus avoid answering questions to which it would normally respond with a lie. Such a creature can be evasive in its answers as long as it remains within the boundaries of the truth. So with that,
Okay.
yeah, so with that, I would continue going on, and I would look up at the master and say, so how did you come to learn about this map? You don't seem to be one of the members of this temple. Oslam, you don't recognize this man's voice, correct?
You see Oslam consider it for a moment. I can't say that I do remember his voice from any of the proceedings that we do throughout the temple.
So, you clearly aren't, a regular around here, but yet you've come to learn about this map. How did that come to be? And I would look up to him.
The master shifts ever so slightly, looking at his student, and straightens himself and his gaze from Oslam and rests it upon you. We have intelligence and eyes everywhere. Word spreads fast, Risen. Your arrival has caused much change in Chiraku.
And is your intelligence a part of the temple's ranks? Or do they just sneak in?
I'm going to say that this is going to fall under your previous insight check. He will tell you that many come and visit the temple freely. But you know for a fact that that deeper chamber is reserved for only individuals who work in the temple, only the monks and priests.
I would look up to him and I would say, you're getting kind of tricky with your answers. So let me try this again with your student. And I would look towards the student, knowing that he can't lie, and I would say, if your intelligence is regularly visiting this temple, how come they can seemingly access a map that isn't accessible to the public? It's only available to people who work at or for the temple.
You see the student panic a little bit. He starts to say something and his voice is stopped, which you know to be your zone of truth, attempting a lie. And he looks towards his master. A bead of sweat drops from the mask, and he finds himself unable to answer your question the way he wants to. And you can hear Aslam begin to chuckle ever so slightly. Perhaps a time for food is in order.
I would grab one of the gyros and ever so slowly, gonna, cock my head a little bit to the side, and I'm gonna slowly take a bite out of the gyro. And while I'm chewing on the gyro, I'm gonna bend down once again and pick up an additional gyro and
Oh.
hold it up to the student whose hounds are currently bound, and so he can't necessarily grab it even if he wanted to. I'll hold it up to his face, right, maybe 4 inches, 5 inches from the mask, and I'll say, understand this. We can treat you so much better if you cooperate with us, and so much worse if you do not cooperate with us.
Roll a persuasion check.
Fuck yeah, baby. Oh my goodness gracious. It's a fucking Christmas miracle. Happy birthday,
No.
Sam Jackson. That is a natural 20 for a 27.
God. Oh my god. Okay, you see the student go from a decent professional demeanor to basically salivating at the smell of this close proximity gyro and just kind of caves. All right. Let me eat, and I'll tell you whatever you need to know.
Help me take
The
off this mask, and I can do so.
the master doesn't say anything. He just kind of stares forward, and Aslam begins to lower the two men.
No, I would tell Oslam to only let down the student.
He can't really just let one down at a time due to the mechanism itself.
Oh, okay. If that's not in our current capabilities, then don't worry about it. I thought it was like a kind of a spell thing that was restraining them
No,
up.
it's like a pulley system, rope
Okay.
kind of deal. So they're both lowered. The deal with the student is that Aslam takes the master out of the cave and leaves you in the cave with the student, so the student can get the hands free and potentially remove the mask itself.
This is like the Young Thug Gunna trial all over again, man.
God damn it.
All right. Anyway, sorry. I would feed him
You'll
the euro though. I would begin. I don't know how to take off his mask. I don't know how mechanically it would work to feed the student here, but I would attempt to feed the student.
you'll see the student. He whispers an incantation that mentions a name that you haven't heard before. The ending of the incantation being Onhur feeds. Onhur being the name you heard. And then the corners of the mask itself pops up, and a number of blood droplets come out from the underneath, and the flames from the mask that was hiding the head shape disappears. The student turns around before pulling the mask off and placing it onto the ground. And then he looks back at you. And mind you, this is in a strange fabric form, but he looks to be potentially half elvish based off of the shape of his ears. He does sport a small beard, but he's not a man that you've ever seen before. The hair that is on him is up in a high top knot type of deal and is about sandy brownish color. And obviously the face itself is very tan from being in the sun as well, as
From
many people in the city are.
from my many travels, does he give me the impression that he's from Jabaxi, culturally speaking, or do I get the impression that he's from, Salia, uh, Eastfolgen, anywhere like that?
He looks like he's from Jabaxi. There's no discernible markings upon his face that gives him away in any way, shape, or form, but he looks to you eagerly for more food.
Okay, I'll definitely give him the euro, feed him the euro,
Yeah, he chows down and pigs out on it.
and once we're done with the euro, can I manifest anything in this painting? I don't know how much of reality I can like manipulate here, uh, or how like what are the properties? Like, can I summon a chair? Is there a chair in the
There's
scene?
just chairs in the area, yeah.
Okay, I would definitely pull up a chair and sit in the chair, and start to look at him and say, "Now that you've eaten, tell me, share me what you know."
He looks at you for a while and considers. I suppose I'll be dead either way. You you are arisen. I would imagine our people intercepted you and found you up from the underworld. Even that, without being in the employ of Anubis, is enough for us to strike you down, place you back into the afterlife of which you came. But I know now that at this rate, I cannot ever hope to return. Anhur's brood will not take me back, and my master will be disappointed in me to the point of maybe even wanting to kill me himself. But I want you to understand that he's a good person. Even though he may not seem like it, he still saved me when he could have left me behind. He tried to get me out, and if you hadn't stopped us, maybe we could have tried again. But I don't feel like I can go back at this point. What do you want to know?
What did you two want with Oslam?
We were supposed to trigger the Divine General.
I would look back at Oslam and see if he recognizes what that means when he says Divine General.
You see Oslam at the mouth of the cave, your conversation echoing through it, obviously. His demeanor doesn't change. He just nods and says, back towards you. Everyone knows I have the keys to the Divine General herself. Why did you think killing me would trigger her? The student looks around and says, well, we weren't expecting you to be so weak as to immediately be caught in our trap. That was a surprise to us. But had we killed you, we feel as though that would have also triggered the Divine General and gotten her out of the way. And you see Oslam ponder that a little bit.
Mm-mm.
At this point, the master still bound, this time his hands behind his back, with Oslam keeping a hand on both wrists. Just keeps his head down and doesn't answer anything.
Look over back to the student, and I would say, you would summon the divine general for this Anhur person?
You don't know who Onhord is because you are an outsider. But Chiraku belongs to Onhor. Chiraku is the only thing that we can take back for him. These chairmen, they stand in the way of his revival, his freedom, and maybe with the keys to the Divine General itself, we could take further steps in bringing him back. Oslam immediately shouts, wherever you get your information from is not all correct. That is not how gods work. That is not how the Divine General works. If you slay me, she will come for you. It is a no-win situation for anyone who takes my life. And then the keys fall to someone else once they are worthy. He is a fool, Isaiah. We should question the master more.
Hmm.
I will say that Oslam does look a little more agitated by this conversation as it goes on.
Yeah. I will usher Oslam to bring the master back within to the zone of truth.
Does he have to redo the saving throw if he leaves it, or is he just immune to it?
Mm. It says until the spell ends, a creature that enters the spell's area for the first time on a
Okay.
turn or starts its turn there must make a charisma saving throw.
On a turn, though. Interesting.
Yeah, you could probably re-roll, sure. But if you pass, I don't know. It's up to you. You're DM.
It's too high.
You rolled
18
really
on the
well.
die.
Gross, gross.
The master, at this point in time, has not locked eyes, but made his vision known to be on his student.
I would approach closer to the master and I would look at him and turn back towards his student and I would say, tell me, master, what do you think Anhur does that instills such little faith in his followers, where just €1 got him to start spilling the beans.
He looks at you. You feel an atmosphere of agitation coming from him. Lack of discipline is what I would lead this cause to be. My students, while loyal to me, have never been too loyal to, I would say, our deity. Do you want to know what Anhur used to do to the undead?
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
He'd keep the bones to build his house and mansion from. Chiraku is built from the bones of risen like you. And while some of its members may not have the devotion, at least they held loyalty towards each other. My remaining student will not be returning back with me when I get out of here. Had I known you would be assailing me in the middle of the night during mission, I would have brought more soldiers, and you would never have made it out of bed. Neither of you.
I would look
I'm
over.
just the first.
I would look over to the master, and I would say it's just another classic example of shoulda, woulda, coulda. And remember what our little deal was when I chased you through Chikaru, right?
Chiraku, yes.
Chiraku. When I was chasing you through Chiraku, that we have an arrangement still, which is I let you go and you tell me everything. Well, you still have to tell me anything substantial. And so now I'm bound, similar to you, where I can't let you go. So,
Isaiah, are you bound to the zone of truth as well?
that guards against deception. It just says until the spell ends, a creature. So I think I would be bunched in with all of you.
And you chose to fail the save?
I didn't make a save, but I didn't consciously choose to fail.
Okay.
I will say this: in this moment, I'm not deceiving anything.
Okay.
I could say that, but I don't know if I would. Wait a second, hang on. So it says you know whether each creature succeeds or fails on its saving throw, but that doesn't mean other creatures know that other creatures failed on their saving throw.
No.
Until, obviously, a truth is revealed that they probably wouldn't have otherwise revealed. But if I fail this, I guess they wouldn't know. So I guess I'll make the charisma saving throw. Because fuck, it's a DC 15. I got a plus 10. I'll do that. Oh. Samuel L. Jackson, you are a motherfucker. I rolled a natural 1
Oh man.
on my zone
Well,
of truth, so I won't
magic's
be
real
able to
strong.
I won't be able to lie to myself or to anyone here. But yeah, I would just continue that I'm not allowed to fulfill my end of the bargain until he starts talking.
I would say that Oslam is shocked by this statement. that you have made a deal like this already. And the master almost seems taken aback as well, slightly. His resistant demeanor seems to relax a bit. And he begins to relent slightly. The moment you took us captive was the moment our lives were forfeit. We cannot return to our people. And I will have to start anew again. You have showed me mercy, and you have given my student nourishment. Why? Why do you show your enemies this mercy?
Well,
What purpose could it serve you?
I, before you so haphazardly just classified me as risen and made your presumptions with that title accordingly, there was a point where I was alive and my name was Isaiah, and relative to what has occurred tonight, well, he did things that I think were far worse in hindsight. And even with the things I did, I had some of the most omniscient forces I've ever come to meet decided to give me mercy when I otherwise would not have thought I would have ever received. I think back upon that moment with where he was and where with I am now. Whenever I see someone make a choice that I disagree with, I think that there's always an opportunity for forgiveness to at least be allowed a chance to be fruitful. I would look back to Aslam and I would say, Aslam, can you remind me again what Iset is the goddess of?
Most prominently, magic.
Yes. Iset is also a goddess of one of the most powerful forms of magic, which I look back to Aslam again. Malice has come to understand dearly, is the magic of love, which is also what Iset is a goddess of. And if we cannot allow room to love everyone and not allow a room or a space for a mistake to be made, then both you, the master, shouldn't be here, and I would look over to the student. You certainly don't need to be here, and I would certainly, most definitely, should not be here. Um, so it's something to remember, at least in this moment, to not take this for granted, because I know, just like with what you said, with what you were expecting prior and what Aslam expected when we took you in, these outcomes could end very differently. And while I allow the space for forgiveness now, I'm not unwise enough to not consider the latter outcome, which we currently thought we were heading towards.
They will kill all of us. You don't know the power that they hold. Their desires to bring back Anhur will not stop at Shiraku. They will cross the desert sands. They will escape the mirage. And they will come for Pharaohs and all the four great angels. And even then Set will shake in his boots over a threat that is older than he is.
I would look at him and I would say, if that's your philosophy, placating to the side you perceive to win, as opposed to doing what is right, then suit yourself. I don't have to take you out of these bounds. I don't need to give you a euro, and I don't necessarily need you to be forgiven.
You will give me a euro.
Then you will tell me something substantial instead of talking about the imminent threat of Anhur. How about the imminent threat of how you're gonna eat, buddy?
I demand that my student and Aslam leave the cave for while I eat. And I will tell you what you need to know. And then you will let my student go. And I will stay here.
I would look to Oslam and I would say, do you agree to these terms, Oslam?
Aslam stares at you for a minute and the master. I agree. But if you do anything, your student's life is forfeit. I will place him in my care, as I did with Isaiah when you attacked him and his group. But if you do anything, I will not hesitate to end your student. So deal.
I will await for them to exit the room.
They depart.
Yep. Yep. Once they depart, Um, I would drop the uh, bounds of the master, and I would let him have a euro.
The master takes the euro, puts it on his lap before he takes his mask at the kind of the base of the jaw and to both corners, makes the same incantation, and a stream of blood comes out from underneath his mask.
Can I collect both his and his students' masks?
You may do so.
Okay. I will take those and I will allow him to continue with what he's doing.
The face of this man is slightly scarred. He seems to have what looks to be claw marks across his face, piercing one of his eyes, causing it to spill blood into the sclera itself. Looks to be elven, this time full instead of half. Ears elongated, has black hair with a splotch of very heavy silver going through the top. His appearance is far more elegant than his students would be, giving him the visage of youth, but when it comes to elves, you never know how old he could really be.
Okay.
He begins to eat.
I allow him to eat.
Once he finishes, he looks at you and just kind of smiles a little bit, almost like he's seeing you for the first time.
Hmm. Do I recognize him?
You look at him. Roll me a history check.
Sure. Not good at all. 3.
He seems familiar, but it's just really hard to place him. Almost like he was picked specifically because of his familiar face.
Interesting. Does he look like similar to his student? He looks like he's a Jabaxi native.
He does,
Okay.
just not here.
Okay. All right, then I would allow him to, the floor is his whenever he's ready to go.
Isaiah the Risen. You've showed me mercy. They call you Redeemer and Web Weaver. Quite lofty names for someone as humble as you. What do you want to know?
I want to know how you came into serving Anhur.
I stumbled into it. I was initially after something else altogether. The very similar threat you found yourself in the hands of, whores of the Morrigan. Not their official name, but it's a common name we call them by. And due to some forced associations and conflicts between our organizations, I have become rather familiar with them. And I was working towards leading somewhat of an effort against them. But then you came along and my plans were scrapped. Our leader was so adamant on claiming your life that we couldn't find ourselves with time for anything other than this. These hags plague this world in ways that I cannot explain. But I am from Bayak, and they have plenty of machinations in that nation. That's when I first learned about them. Had I known about them sooner, I would have came straight to Chiraku instead of stopping in mainland Jabaxi for years, studying the magics, and finally ending up here. Does that satisfy your desire?
So, what is your relationship with the Hags of Morgan today?
Begrudging ally, soon to be slayer of them.
Do I know that the rib was taken from me, or do I still have? Am I still under the impression that I have it?
You are under the knowledge that you have had it taken from you.
I would look at him and I would say, "So was it you or your student who took the rib from my quarters?"
He looks at you and he looks very offended. You think us so ravenous to steal ribs from you in the middle of the night? No, we did
Does,
not pass by your quarters. We entered through Oslam's quarters.
Interesting. Then, beyond you obviously breaking into a holy temple and, you know, assaulting one of the templesmen, uh, why did the spiderling want you specifically?
That question might not be well suited for me, more so for him. I could feel his eyes upon me when I used the map. For what reason he decided that my actions were punishable, I do not know. All I did was locate Aslam, verified his location in the temple. That made it easy.
Hmm.
A distraction was made that drew away your bodyguard and his, the Dragonborn.
Hmm. Interesting.
Do you
So,
trust this Aslam implicitly?
I think the moment we exercise distrust, I think is the moment where alliances begin to crumble. So while I exercise caution with most people that are around me, I cannot say that Islam has given me pause for concern.
He's done a lot for you. Maybe that concern comes when he starts asking things of you as well.
Maybe. And it'll be at which point my decision whether or not the ask is in accordance to my oath is beneficial to all parties. And I by all parties I mean more than just people like you and me, uh, the greater whole. But nonetheless, I don't think Islam is necessarily relevant for the conversation at hand. When is this Anhur supposed to show up or come back, as you say?
Anhur is the great lion god of war, slayer of Geb, the war criminal, lion god, brother of Sekhmet, the reason why Jabaxi had to change. His spear drew the blood of the first god in Jabaxi, supposedly. And the requirements to defeat him were too high of a price for the many, many avatars throughout the years. He lies in the bed of the lake of fire in the underworld, trapped there for all eternity, or until we set him free. I suppose I can't say we very much anymore. But things have changed in Shiraku these past few years. The eye of the mirage widens and shortens. New temples are revealed every year with that change. And with Set's forces closing in on Shiraku on a daily basis, they don't have time to deal with Anhur. Although, I would say that there's a good debate on the spear being here or somewhere else. But close to here, one would assume.
Hmm. And what spear are you referring to?
Anhur's spear that can turn into a falchion. It has many names over all the cultures of Jabaxi. Even the Tendo had a name for it when they once coincided with our lands. Some people call it, amongst our community, the last drop. Speaking of blood, pointing to the blood on his lap and all over the ground. Blood is what gives us life, and it's what we fight with. Our magics are very dangerous to control and forbidden to use. Aslam would be taking a great risk keeping me in his care, while his other chairmen search for anything they could possibly do to learn about our organization. But they wouldn't be so quick to give me the same treatment you did.
Blessings come in all shapes and forms.
Don't they?
Well, I think at this point, I have almost everything that I need. Um, hmm. If I were to find a way to let Aslam let you go, where would you go?
He looks around. I would leave this godforsaken place. First off, I think I would go north. Think I'd go north until I left Jabaxi. And I'd go to Cindergrasp, the old world of the elves.
Hmm.
See what I could find there.
Then let me see what I can do. And at this point, I would stand up from my chair and go up to the master and re tie his hands behind his back. I wouldn't engage the pulley per se, but I would still have him bound. And I would go up to the entry of the painting where Aslam and the student are, and I would tell Aslam, would you allow this student to return to his master? I need to inquire something to you without his presence.
Go say your goodbyes, young man. You won't see him for some time. And the student gets gently pushed forward, and he kind of looks back at you both hesitantly, and just kind of walks over towards his master.
I would look over to Aslam and I would say, Aslam, I think the things that we are dealing with here are bigger than just some master and a student.
He looks at you, waits for the student to get out of earshot, and just kind of pulls you close. Everyone knows that I wield the power of the Divine General, Isaiah. but very few would know that her wrath would be incurred upon my death. Can I trust you with this information that I am about to tell you?
I would look to Oslam and I would say, at this point, I think we're in too deep together.
He smiles and pats you on the shoulder. That we are. Isaiah, my power is greatly different from most others. I have taken a vow off of an old wager with a jinn. I had a wish cast, and with that wish, through passivity and never bringing harm to another being that would bring harm to me myself directly, I have been given the keys of the Divine General, the first Divine General of Chiraku, when Anhur held possession of the city. It was through this general's reawakening that we took this city from Set over 300 years ago. I am the second person to wield these keys. If I die, the Divine General will leave the sarcophagus at the face of the mountain and hunt down my killer. But then that throws the keys into a state of, the best way to think of it, as limbo until someone else earns them. So if I die, which it seems like these two young men were sent here to kill me and take me off the board, and the Divine General at that, that would leave me gone, and the two other chairmen to come in and step in my place here in the city. Part of me, a strong part of me, is saying that the fellow chairmen are trying to assassinate me in the most indirect way possible. But another part of me thinks that that's what it makes me feel like they want me to think. And who they are is unknown to me. Do you understand, Isaiah? And he's like grabbing your head.
Um, yeah, he's kind of psyched out. He's fucking hyped out of his mind. Um,
Listen, I'm the only apparent chairman, the only one whose presence is known. I'm the youngest. I have not been around for the centuries that they have been around. I am known, and my role is to help lead part of this city. So, what purpose would it give them to get rid of one of their greatest weapons? I don't know. But I think we need you to get ready for your interview because it's almost midday. I can't guarantee that I'll attend, but Joy will be going with you. And if Ion's not busy, I'm sure she will as well. I have Amun running me some favors today. So I wish you luck in that expense. This is a very strange day for me.
and it's about to get stranger because I'm thinking of having the master and the students denounce Anhur and setting them go.
To believe that these executioners are following Anhur now, instead of even their original motivation, is remarkably stupid. Anhur has been nothing but a rumor of a threat for so long, I doubt he has any true power to give them in the first place.
Then, if we're not really concerned about them being a threat, then I don't see what the need is for them to be here beyond the risk that they may pose a nuisance if we allow them to stay.
The other risk would be allowing the master to fall into the hands of the other chairmen. I don't know if you've counted, but there are two other students of this one particular blood mage that have gone unaccounted for in my possession. I have a good sense on where they ended up, and I have a feeling that they are being questioned in a far more lethal sense than you and I have provided. So, expect cross-examination at your interview.
I will deal with the consequences as they come towards me. But for now, I think is a good time to allow these blood mages to become reborn. And I would go back into the room where the student and the master are kept, and I would look towards both of them and I would say, we us three share a lot more in common uh, now than what we, originally had 20, 30 minutes ago. For one, we've all had a euro. For two, we all made decisions that we admit were regretful and most likely should have yielded our deaths. And thirdly, we all were given a second chance when we didn't necessarily deserve it. And at that point, I would snap their two masks in half with my hands if I could.
I will say the moment you try to snap one of the masks, you definitely feel a very powerful pulse of energy that gives you the idea of an explosion.
Yeah, and think about it like when you get that new box from Amazon and you got all the bubble wrap and you try to blow multiple, giant air bubbles at the same time because it's fun and it makes a loud reverberation. That's kind of what I'm doing with these masks because I cracked both of them at the same time if possible.
Okay. You want to crack both at the same time? All right, bro.
Yep.
All right.
Look, man, I regularly cast Thunderous Smite. Like my ears have been rocked.
Yeah. Give me give me a Constitution saving throw. I'm trying to see how to roll this in this situation. Because you're doing it with your hands. You're not even close to it. You are on it. Give me 2 con saving throws.
That is a natural 2 for a 6.
Oh my god.
A natural 10 for a 14.
Okay. One of them passes, but it's gonna be a bit of damage here, my brother in Christ.
Fuck!
At least you definitely buff a show of force. I'll definitely say that. No one can say you're not tough after doing this.
Take 44 points of force damage. You fucking
Yeah,
idiot.
just like you are absolutely going to take a lot of damage, but you know what? You passed one, and that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. All right, I'm gonna clear my tray real quick, like.
I'm gonna also roll a performance check to give the impression that I'm unfazed.
Yeah, you know what? Do that, absolutely.
Natural 11 for a 14.
Not bad. It's not bad. All right. Well, oh man. All right.
How
As
much?
I do some calculations here.
Jesus Christ, did you have to go to the store and buy a calculator?
Yeah, I did. I did. So you take 34 points of necrotic damage as this uh you know instant kill if removing mask self-destruct device in these blood mass go off and just do a number on you and just tear this cave up. Ironically, it's kind of goofy looking because you're made of yarn. You're made of
Yeah.
tapestry essentially. So it's cartoonish in a way. And I'm going to say with a 14, yeah, you hold it together pretty well, but man does it sting.
Man, fuck these masks. Um,
These were definitely made to kill these guys.
yeah. I would toss the pieces of the masks at both of their feet, and I would say, well, I would begin to untie it, and I would say, with your guys's, with your guys's promise that you will never return to Chirakut, I will allow you guys to leave, reborn as new men, and that way you may travel to Cindergrasp or wherever you may want to go, so long as it's not under the title of follower of Anhur.
You see the student look at his master, concerned, and the master just kind of nods in solidarity, but raises a brow at the idea of we shall leave as soon as we figure out how to evade the illusions of the Mirage Desert, the illusory desert, as you would know it. Getting in is not an issue. Getting out is the issue.
Journeys
And the
are
student just,
hard.
and the student just kind of, huh? We, how do you expect us to leave?
I would look towards the student and, I'd brush his shoulders a little bit and pat him a little bit, and I would say, unfortunately, the road to forgiveness is often hard, arduous, and long. It's the fact that you were even given a second chance. I think that's what we should be focusing on. Because there was a world where the Mirage, you know, wouldn't sound half bad. I'll tell you that.
The master just kind of looks at his student and he says, I will guide you one last time, my friend. Mind you, it will not be a direct path, and it will probably take us some time, but we'll find our way out. Hopefully, in one piece. Title card. No.
Yep. I would at this point bend down and get the remaining euros and give it to them as a parting, like, hey, good luck.
This has been a stupid 24 hours. As he picks up the euros.
Um, let me think here. Give me a second here. Can is there's no really property that can make this true, and I'm not like some type of fucking fae, so I can't really, I don't whip up contracts on a fucking dime. But is there any way that I could assure myself that they're kind of sworn to this? I'm not like giving them an oath per se, but I want to. Is there any way that I can guarantee that they're gonna honor their word, or no?
There's no particular way, I would say. You you unfortunately don't have the capabilities that many devils and or fey-like beings possess to bind people to their word. Unless you are willing to look to Oslam for some type of guidance on that. Unless you want to maybe put some skin in the game and invoke Neith's name.
Interesting. I think I would hold both of their wrists, and I would say, what would I say? I would look up and off into the distance as Isaiah's hands are grabbing both of the student and the master's wrists after these words that I've, this deal that I've kind of made for them. Uh, I would look up off into the distance, thinking about the uh, power vested in me, by Neith. And I would say out loud a little prayer. In the name of Neith, as Isaiah her chosen, let these words bind as the webs she has woven. And you'll see my wrist start to begin to glow faintly with these little glyph outlines of a web spinning, being woven around my hand, and start to spread its web, you would say, across my hands to the student and the master's wrists. And the web, once connecting all three of us, will glow very brightly and intensely and then fade away and disappear.
You see both student and master widen their eyes at your display of this strength and power, invoking a god's name that they do not know, but they feel the power inside of it when whispered. You feel as though the master himself rejects the god and accepts the oath, not wishing to be tied to another deity as intimately as he has been over his life. The student, however, is very eager to immediately on board with this vow. And you feel that your fate has changed theirs in a way. And now you are going to be held slightly responsible for some of their actions by you putting this faith and vow into them.
Oh, don't fuck it up, Billy Bob. Interesting.
Both
Okay, that's awesome.
both the student and master have a small glyph of a spider upon the wrists that you held that glow and then fade away.
Badass. Badass. I would let go of their wrists, of course, and I would usher them to the entrance of the painting. As me and Oslam have to depart, and I have to play a little game called Testify.
Indeed, you do. Is there anything else you wish to do before you go to your testimony?
Yes, I would like to go to the painting. Or the map. Not the map, not the painting. I want to go to the map. Go to the map room, and I want to see if I can burn my 3 uses today.
All right, my guy. You make your way from the deep point of the temple itself, and you come across the map room. At this point, it is arcane locked by Oslam.
It cannot be entered.
But he is in close proximity, not immediately paying you mind, but you can summon him if you wish.
I would summon Oslam, and I would say, Oslam, before I go to the council, I request that I may use the map for purposes regarding some of the things we discussed about with the student and the master.
As Oslam has taken care of the issue of their attendance, he places them in what seems to be a safe house that they can reside in for the time being until things cool down, because they did try to assassinate him last night.
They did indeed.
Joy uh, makes her presence known as well. And Oslam, he allows you into the map room itself, in which Joy very much so wants to see, but Oslam ushers her away.
I would proceed up to the map and
The map formulates and shows itself to you, and you notice something initially, Isaiah. It's changed.
in what way?
The blight fields, which were in a concentrated eye initially, have disappeared and acclimated in splotches all over the map,
Like,
and seem to be shifting ever so slightly.
when you say all over the map, are you saying all over Jabaxi or all over?
All over Jabaxi.
Okay, okay. I was gonna say like the continent or okay, cool. Well, not cool. Fuck that. But now that I understand, that's cool. I would make a mental note of that and proceed to set my hands on the map and think of the first most pressing thing on my mind, and that is Anhur, and I would like to see what happens to the map
Oh
when I
boy.
think of Anhur.
The map short circuits for a second. It grasps your hand and yanks you forward, and you are pulled mentally into the underworld to the lake of fire glowing its pale bluish green. Underneath, chained to the bottom of it by both arms, pulled as tautly as possible, is this lion like deity that is in a constant state of burning fire with the bloodiest, saddest looking eyes you've ever seen on any type of figure before. You see it, it's there. It doesn't seem to be anything more than just alive.
Ray, can I call you out? Can I? Please,
Yep,
please, just this
go
one
ahead.
time.
Go ahead.
Because I know exactly where you got Anhur, where he came from. I know exactly where you got your inspiration from, and you're
Mm-hmm.
not slick remotely.
Mm-hmm.
You got it exactly from the Kung Fu Panda 1 Tai Lung introduction sequence where he's at the bottom of the prison, arms spread
Oh,
out, barely alive, and he does one of the coolest prison escapes in all of fiction.
that is the visualization that I was using initially. Um, I thought you were gonna say I just got on her from Egyptian mythology, but you know
No.
I see what you mean by the inspiration of the scene.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no, Tai Lung is the inspiration of the prison, at least.
Ah,
Just far more deadly and intense.
it is a lot more deadly, a lot more flames for sure. No, absolutely. But I just couldn't help but make that connection. I thought that was so funny. Okay, back to the action. I noticed this. I make a mental note of this just as just because I'm curious generally, Ray. I'm just a curious person, so don't take this as like a foreshadow of any character plans or motivations. But
Yep.
would I, Isaiah, burn alive if I were to just dive into the lake of fire?
You think that's probably the case.
Okay.
Is that he's there because he is a god, and that's why he can continue to exist there.
Okay. Interesting.
He's very much so alive. He's not dead.
Okay, then I will also use because I get 3 charges every 24 hours, as I
Yep.
understand. The second thing that I'm going to think of is the fact that uh, I lost something and I need to understand where it is, and that is Enelok.
Oh boy. Now that is a very interesting choice to do. Oh man. So you call the map to search for Septimetrion Enelok, specifically the skull you had that when you came to the Duat the first time. And at this very moment in time, you will see that Enelok has fallen into the hands of these jackal-headed individuals.
Ah!
Enelok
Gosh.
is being essentially probed and prodded with magical mages, with jackal heads both ornately made and naturally occurring, or at least in the most natural sense that disciples of Set can be. And they appear to be in the original place where you first met Amun himself. The same place that Madame Laveau was, the same place that you fought Lloyd.
God damn.
The skull was lost to you there in the Smite explosion that had resulted in you traveling and, teleporting when you were having your battle with the Rabbit Brethren. And some of the sons of Set that were in the area have discovered it, and they seem to be learning all they can from it as we speak.
God, that freaking blows.
It does.
Okay, then in that case, I will make a mental note of that.
You will
And
see one of the mages dies instantly when he goes a little too far on an inspection from the skull. Not enjoying being prodded in that form. Just kind of, gets zapped with green lightning and then incinerates, leaving nothing but a skeleton on the ground, causing all the other mages to back off
so
for
there,
the time
where
being.
where I met Amun in the Duat, which was where I also fought Lloyd. Is it the Colosseum?
It was an ancient hideaway that Amun was using as a refuge for many individuals, including Madame Laveau, who was avoiding some individuals.
Okay.
It's very close to where the old heart of the world is.
Okay. Very interesting. Okay, okay. Um, then in that case, I will think of my one last charge. Give me a second. Let me just write down on who are at the bottom of the lake of fire. And it burns, 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 the burning ring of fire. Okay, I'm going to use the last charge to think about something I've never seen before, have no clue. I'm just going to, shot in the dark, just see what happens. I'm going to see or think about the last drop.
When you try to think about an item like that, it does not work. You have to
Mm,
think about individuals. And if it's an item that you've seen before, that can work.
okay, okay. So with that knowledge, are you telling me I can't do that, or are you telling me I burnt the charge and this is what I've learned?
You attempt and it doesn't allow you to burn the charge.
Okay, so I can still think of one thing that I have seen before if it's an item. Okay, then I am going to think about the rib and where that went.
All right. You think about the rib. You're lucky because the rib is also technically part of a living being who is now dead, but still exists in a strange form and fashion. Kazumoto's rib is not too far outside of the outskirts of the city itself. The interesting part is that you see it in the possession of Amun.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
You see Amun at this moment in time, it's almost midday. At this point, he would be basically raiding a tomb on the outskirts of the city, and he's essentially using the rib to the best of his ability to rebuild some of the broken parts before it burns his hand and takes him away from the possession of it, so he can properly cross the chasms moving forward. He's essentially tomb raiding.
Okay, so it's nothing malicious.
It doesn't seem inherently malicious.
He's not trying to. He's not leaving.
No, if he wanted to leave, he would have gone already. He seems to be working towards a direct goal at this point in time. He has the head known as Mowgli upon his side and is communicating with it on what he's seeing. And he seems to be in some type of ancient temple looking for a modicum of treasures, possible weaponry, and he's seeking knowledge, it seems to be.
Mm.
He has a number of scrolls and adventurer packs on him, and he's seemingly looking or moving forwards towards an objective of some kind that you just don't know. But it seems like he took the rib without your knowing, and that in itself is odd.
Yeah. That's. I'm still kind of tilted about that part, but I don't know, man. He gives me such cool uncle vibes. If you make him evil, I'm gonna have to fight you. But until
He
then,
is a cool uncle.
I'm gonna assume he's just a cool uncle. Nothing malicious, but that is interesting. That is interesting. With that, uh, I will gesture to Aslam and I will say, thank you. I did get confirmation that Anhur is at the bottom of the Lake of Fire. And,
His eyes widen. What? Wait, he's real?
oh, um, I don't know if this is a spell, but can I basically, like, make a crude glyph image of what I had seen when I used the map and looked at Anhur? I want to convey what I had seen, but I don't know if there's a spell where it's like I could just pull something from my memories. You know, kind of like the Harry Potter bowl thing, where you pull the memory out your brain and you put it in this little petri
Yeah.
dish and you can see into it. I want to communicate
It's
something like that, but I don't know if there's a specific D&D spell for that.
it's almost I'll say that you can essentially, pull up the remaining memory of like, the lasting memory of the map's usages today.
Okay.
And Oslam just looks at that and he says, "This basically confirms the ideals of a terrorist being true, that there is such a god known as Anhur who killed another. You cannot tell people this. Do you understand? We can't give them a validation and more standing to sit upon. This is information that is dangerous." And that's the point when Joy like sticks her little head in. She's like, "What is that? That's pretty cool. Did you? I mean, it's a strange image. Why would you make something like this, Aslam? Why would you make a tapestry like?" And then she sees that it's actually moving, and she's like, "That's really strange." um, Isaiah, what is this?
I would look over to Joy and I would say, Joy, you're being very nosy right now.
You you have a point, but I am also your protector, so I have a right to be nosy when it comes to your deeds in my city. So, both of you, what are you hiding? And Aslam just kind of something that shouldn't be in the hands of very naughty people, Joy.
I would look over to Joy, and the tapestry is the most recent thing it was used for was to look at the Kazimoto's rib with Amun, and
Yeah.
um, I would say, I was just trying to find where my uncle was, Amun. And it
Oh.
seems he is outside the city. And I just wanted to check in on him since the temple was, in fact, raided and there was a chase throughout the town with the student master and Spiderling. I just wanted to make sure that his safety is not of a concern. And since I haven't seen him, I use this tool to help me see him. And he seems fine, so I am put at ease. Well,
So this tool can see people. Very interesting. Very interesting. I might want to try it myself if Oslam's willing to allow me some time. And you kind of see Oslam like blush a little bit.
do you think Joy's flirting with her or something? Flirting with him or something? What's going on here?
Uh, he just seems a little embarrassed and cautious over the potential usage she would find out of it. Isaiah has an interview to get to amongst the chairmen, which he might not survive. So we ought to let him go, Joy, and you ought to follow him and ensure his safety. Make sure he makes it there in one piece and back in one piece. And Joy just kind of passively looks. You're no fun, Aslam, and Isaiah, you're losing yours.
Look, Joy, you are my bodyguard. You also need to get your coworker and peer Malice, because he is also my bodyguard. So once we gather the troop, we may depart.
Have it your way, boys. I will go get Malice. As she does so, you are left alone with Aslam, and he escorts you out and chooses to lock up. Is there anything else Isaiah wishes to do in the interim?
I can't really just catch up to Amun and I guess I would check in with Ion, see how she's doing before I actually leave.
You see Ion, she's essentially she has at this point in time purchased a decent amount of clothing, a number of different dresses, robes, and exemplary furs that she is unaccustomed to having upon her person. And she's organizing them in her room that she has in this temple. And she looks at you and just smiles and just says, Hello, Isaiah. Would you like to see one that looks best on me?
She's a little fashionista, damn.
Yep, she's got clothes for the first time and options.
It's good for her. Get her shit off. I would look it towards Ion and I would say, sure, let's see a couple that you got. Let's see which dresses you should have said yes to and which ones that could have stayed on the rack. Um, but while we're doing this, I'm just gonna generally just check how she's doing. How
You
she's
look
hanging
at
in.
her, roll an insight check.
Inside. Natural 16 for a 21.
21. Isaiah, there's something you notice about her is that she is truly enjoying being part of society. She seems to be, for the moment in time, very new to it, but very much so enjoying the part of community. She talks to you about a couple of friends she made while shopping and doing chores for the Squeaky Genie, which she has to get to for the cleanup for the past party event that would have gone on there when they docked on the night before. And she'll get to it in time. She's taking a little bit time for herself to organize. But there's a moment in time during her spilling of her day when you notice that her form of being in this lizard folk figure almost shifts a little bit, like her muscles spasm, and she doesn't seem to notice, but it seems like her form is having issue in keeping hold. And with a 21 insight you got, you feel like she might need to stretch a bit.
Do I get a sense of imminency?
Yeah, I will say with a 21, you can definitely insight, even if she can't herself, that she's probably not been in this form this long in her entire life. And she's probably going to have to return to her regular form for at least a little bit. In which case, that is going to have to very much so be in private.
Yeah. Um,
You
this
know,
is
not with you around, but not in the city.
yeah. Um, I would set a hand on Ion's shoulder and I would say, Ion, I'm getting concerned that your humanoid form may not be sustainable for much longer. Um, which is fine because I appreciate you in all of your forms and sizes. But the people of Churatu, I don't think would necessarily be super welcoming or understanding of a giant, massive serpent just um, entering town and potentially crushing a couple of buildings. You know, just it's a valid concern. So what I would like you to do for the best of everyone, yourself included, is to pack a little backpack, a little to go bag, and I need you to journey out of the city for two things. And this is where I would start to weave a web of a golden glyph. It would start as a web, and I think the web would just start to change its weave of itself to draw shapes and outlines. And I'll have the shapes and outlines be uh, the journey of a certain Uncle Amun using a rib to go on his little adventures outside of the city. And I would say, Ion, I think I would appreciate if you checked in on our buddy Amun here. He seems to have a certain rib with him. And just generally check not only how he's doing, what's his plan, and, why he may have taken the rib. Um, but in addition to, I would like you to do this while extended out into your, adult serpent form because I think that will be good for you ultimately, so that you can return back to your humanoid form with no concerns of, any surprises.
In the corner of your eye, you see Lyman and the familiar formerly known as Tink both sitting on the corner of the bed with braziers upon their heads.
Well,
They're kind of blowing raspberries and shaking their butts towards you, and the moment you turn to look, they just kind of go back to normal, but still with just braziers.
okay, all right. Well, fucking hell. I would
And
look. I would look at Lyman and the familiar formerly known as Tink, and I would say, I need you two to be the eyes and ears up above for uh, Ion while she stretches out of the city. Um, Make sure if there was anyone that were to, you know, see her out there, that maybe they don't see him anymore, you know? If you know what I mean? Catch what I'm saying? No, nothing non-violent, but just keep an eye on Ion. Keep an eye on Ion. Jeez, say that fast
Lyman,
5 times.
keep an eye on Ion. Keep an eye on Ion. Oh man, that's tough. Uh, Ion takes your words into consideration, and like her eyes like fluctuate between being highly dilated pupils and then non-dilated pupils. Almost as if she realizes, yeah, you know what? It might be time to stretch the old muscles. Isaiah, I assure you, I am stronger than anyone in the city and will defeat anyone in a race and/or arm wrestling contest. Amun said already that I am probably the greatest racist this city has ever seen,
Okay, all right, Uncle Ion.
and he assured me that I should refer to myself as such when anyone questions my level of speed.
Well, I don't doubt it that what you said wasn't true. I take you for your absolute word. I firmly believe that you would beat anyone in an arm wrestling contest. But we're not here to fight with the locals, okay? Um, so just check on Amun and stretch out, across the desert, Try to do it without people watching necessarily, preferably under cover of a massive sand dune or a large cave, something like that with low visibility. But yes, I need you to definitely check on Amun and do that for us. And if it's any consolation, I am not doing anything exciting in the imminent future. I am talking to bureaucrats, and I have to pretend that I'm really interested. So, you're not missing out on anything exciting. No epic mission. We're not saving the day today. I just have to have a conversation with some gentlemen and gentlewomen about my presence here. So, if you could do that, cash money.
She nods in excitement. I shall sneak out in the middle of the night, transform under the moonlight that my father controls, and I will gloriously bathe in it. And I will grow more powerful. Probably.
All right.
That's
Well,
what Amun says
yeah.
will
Yep.
probably happen.
Yep. And just as a general rule of thumb, I think you should generally listen to Amun. I think he's right on a lot of things, but don't call yourself a racist, okay? It's not what you
I'm
think
not
it is.
always a racist, Isaiah. It's only when foot races begin. People need to
Ah,
understand who is number one.
yeah. We don't say racist outside of the duat, we say fastest. If you win a race, you are the fastest. You are not a racist. You're not the best racist, It's not you don't do that. Just don't do that. Um but yeah, definitely do that. The other parts, the bathing in the moonlight. What I will say is, for the sake of let's be safe rather than sorry, I would encourage you to depart sooner than nightfall, just so that if or when you were to spontaneously turn into your serpent form, you're not still in the city or on your way out of the city. So I would urge a level of pep in your step, uh, and just be ready out there.
She seems confused on why she can't use her word. You know that Amun definitely had some fun in installing this word into her vocabulary.
Yeah.
But whether or not that's a ticking time bomb in the future is not important as we speak. The the conversation is cut short with your friends, the sorcerers themselves, Malice and Joy, walking into the room, knocking on the door initially, and Malice immediately seeing Ion in a new type of garb, losing himself for a split second, has to exit the room, and Joy says, "We're gonna be late."
All right. Well, Malice, chill. Don't get too excited. She's just a cheese lady. And I would
Why does
rush
that
out the door.
bat have a bra on his head? No. And
We would depart, and then we would make our way to the council. And
and you do.
and we do. And so we go to the motherfucking council. It's gonna be the Anakin Skywalker Mace Windu scene all over again, where Anakin Skywalker says, "Bro, why the fuck do you hate me?" And Mace Windu says, "Cause you're the so-called chosen one, and all I see is a little bitch."
Yeah, fuck you, kid. I'm 50 years old. Fuck you.
Uh, um,
Uh, in reality, though, Isaiah, you make your way down towards the outskirts of the city, near the military academy, towards the Elder's Circle. Now, it becomes very apparent to you quickly that there is a large line of inquiries and issues to be brought to the attention of said elders. In which case, you guys are essentially waiting in line at the DMV, taking a
no,
number.
not the DMV.
Yeah, it's like
Jabaxi
that.
was supposed to be better than this.
And I did take in consideration that your night was interrupted in the middle of it, so your rest was extended, and your interview with the individuals would have taken oh so long after getting your euros. You didn't have too much time before midday came across, but I would ask you this. Does Isaiah go out of his way to adjust his appearance from being covered in blood?
Oh, yes, I would. I would take like those like quickie showers, like pits tits ass,
Yep.
something like that. Make myself look presentable. I don't think I have anything on me that would even do anything like that. I just have like like support spells and then some damage spells. I don't have like anything like prestidigitation or anything like that. So yeah, I will have to just shower. I'll swap out the clothes. I'll change. I don't think I need to be armored to go to a council meeting, so I'm not gonna be armored. I'm not gonna. I may wield my Kopesh, but beyond the Kopesh, I think it would just be a trousers, uh, a white. Gosh, I don't know what would even be like a native Jabaxi garment. I would probably wear like a white shirt with a white tunic over it, um, or like a gray tunic over it, and I would have a kind of a casual wear going on. Instead of my combat boots, I got like sandals, and yeah, I think that would be it.
That sounds like a good deal to me. I will say that your good boy Malice himself is showing up in his casual gear as well. But mind you, they are sorcerers, so they don't typically wear much more than their uniforms themselves. However, Joy, before she leaves, arms herself after helping you and assisting you with bathing at a local YMCA and getting yourself all adorned up. She does arm herself with what seems to be two Eastern style fans, paper fans. That you know her to be an aeromancer, a wielder of wind magic. You can't help but to think that such a mundane object like this can't really be, and it is a paper fan, it's not like a weapon fan. It can't really be that dangerous of a weapon in anyone else's hands but hers.
Badass,
But the
badass.
but the fact that she has decided to arm herself now with these things is a little telling. But she does put on her best demeanor possible and moves forward with her namesake of joy upon her face. whereas Malice is casually standard.
Good for him, man. Good for him. But um yeah, I would continue to the council. Casual wear, guilty free wear. If I were to get fucked up, I would be fucked up. I think when I'm back, I would probably try to find a health potion to consume.
Yeah, I'll say that a local healer, will have something for you essentially, and it'll be explained who exactly that you are. And you know who the fuck I am? You know who my dad is? You'll have
Yeah,
that moment.
yeah.
You're like, oh, Chairman Delay, oh. And
My dad works for Nintendo.
yeah, literally. He is Nintendo,
Yeah.
Mr. Nintendo himself. We're going
Um.
beyond Uncle Nintendo.
Yeah. Let's see here. That's all I would do. I think that's all I would do.
You will make your way down to the military academy, in which case you will enter this very nice facility adorned with many Leonin type figures. However, there's not a lot of Leonins in location. You don't notice a whole bunch of them until one is very made apparent to you, and it is very much so this tall feline looking woman who probably is close to 11 to 12 feet tall, just towers above every other person you see around. Her hands appear to be shackled with some type of manacle deal that are tied to her feet in a chain gang kind of situation. And she seems to be sitting down on a stool that you are brought to in line with what looks to be a blue dragonborn as well. His hands themselves seem to be bound in some type of bone fixings. And before you guys make it directly to it, Joy kind of stops in her step for a second, and you notice that she begins to sweat. And Malice himself stops and just kind of continues on with his approach, but locks eyes with this other dragonborn figure.
I would look over to this dragonborn figure. Can I make an insight check about if they recognize each other, or if they are a perceived threat?
You look at them, roll me an insight check to see in depth, but you'll definitely see that they recognize each other right off the bat.
That's gonna be a 15 total.
15 total. You are able to realize that despite Malice not giving away too much emotion, for a split second in time, you read in his eyes that he cannot fucking stand this guy that you are being forced to approach, sitting on this waiting section. This tall Leonin type woman who sits in between you two, you look at her and she seems to be almost a mixture. You realize that she also bears what looks to be two tusks of an orc upon her face, making her a Leonin orc, half orc, or half Leonin.
Mm.
A combination that has never been seen before in your eyes.
Look, man, when a man and a woman love each other.
And, that happens. They get married, and then, the stork delivers. And sometimes it delivers a bigger package than others. They seem to be sitting patiently, shackled, and the insight you get on the Dragonborn, the blue Dragonborn that is waiting, he seems hopeful and eager for a chance to see Malice again, but does not voice anything. Just kind of suddenly gets anxious and starts tapping the ground with his feet. Exponentially so, in anxiety and nervousness. Malice himself keeps a distance off to your left as you guys are essentially lined up, and the Dragonborn goes into the chambers himself to have his meeting, but does not exit before the Leonin-type woman is called in.
I would look over
And
to
suddenly it's just you three there.
yeah, I would look over to Malice and you know, I've been doing a lot this episode, but I gotta keep doing it. I just gotta keep boosting the morale, just fucking, shot in the arm. And I'm just gonna put my hand on Malice's shoulders. I'm gonna be like, "You okay, Malice? You seem to get a little worked up back there. Did you know that Dragonborn fellow?"
Yeah. Yeah, you could say that I know him pretty well.
What
I
seems
don't
to be
know
the
why
issue?
he's Joy just kind of like steps up and steps out of the earshot, essentially giving you guys some privacy. That would be the closest thing I can say that I had as a father. And he is a death row inmate. And for whatever reason he would have being here is something of disgust for me. Does he think he can get out of his position that he's been placed in? Does he think he can afford a parole hearing? Or is he just trying to find another form of his sentence? Time will tell, I guess. I think I'll go wait in the stands, actually.
I look at him and I look at him in his eyes, and I would say, dads can be complicated sometimes. Do what you think is best for you. I would pat him on the shoulder and let him go walk himself into the stands.
He does so as Joy comes back looking a little hurt that she didn't get addressed as he passed by. And she kind of asks you how much you know about who he was. I will assume that you share that you know that he's his dad now. Death row inmate. You go through that little proceeding. We don't have to give it a scene. And then Joy just kind of. Malice used to be partnered with him the same way we are partnered. It's a lot to explain, but when you hear the name Joy, it's not my name. It's my name Shield. And you'll hear her say the word joy, but her mouth says something different. Is my real name. And sorcerers can be bound with that. So he once was what I am. He was once joy. And then he made a very large number of poor decisions, and well, I can say that he probably got what he deserved so far. And he's probably just nervous on seeing him again more than anything. So don't worry about it.
Well, if that's the case, then Joy, can you see to it that Malice doesn't take any action that acts on his namesake?
Malice is his own man. He follows the beat of his own drum. He won't do anything too wild. Malice has a bad reputation mostly because of that man. The close association of them both being geomancers and dragonborn. It's unfortunate, but it's something he's going to have to live with his whole life in this city. A lot of people died because of that man.
Yeah, I'm sure it can't be easy. But if you don't want to be his watchful protector in the event that he were to make a poor decision, can you just please be a supportive friend while he is processing the emotions of seeing a father he would rather not see at present time?
If that time comes too, I will do my best as his ally and partner to keep him safe. However, my duty is to keep you safe for now, and I have a feeling that I might have to step in between a few of you death row inmates and potential troublesome paladins. But hopefully not.
Okay.
And Isaiah, once again, the Dragonborn and the Leonin type woman do not exit the room, but you are still called in. And you find yourselves entering this chamber that's built almost like those old Victorian surgical rooms where there's a number of doctors and such, a rotunda of stages and seatings for individuals to watch you guys on a lower level basically be interviewed and talked about. You see the two prisoners themselves have taken a seat, and they sit before what looks to be an older woman who seems to be wrapping up a dossier of some type of mission that you miss most of the details on. On the table before you is a number of correspondence letters. The rabbit foot that belongs to Lloyd that was taken by the hags, and a very close sketch of the symbols adorned on your right forearm from the rib. And I'll say that we leave off with introductions exchanged between the two of you, and we'll pick up with those introductions on the next session.
Mmm. Scrumdiddlyumptious. All right, Ray. This was a really good episode. A lot of fun. A lot of good talking occurring. A lot of good conversations. Let's talk about, as we normally do, what was your favorite moments? What were things you didn't expect? What were things that you're like, damn, that's kind of cool? You know, give me your hot takes, your reactions.
I will say that I didn't like my point of view of the episode as much. I felt like conversing between myself is always difficult for me to do, to hop into roles and pop back and forth. And I need to find a way to, you know, play my classic schizophrenic and just, really get into these roles. I got to be that Daniel Day-Lewis and I got to be that Joaquin Phoenix, I got to be James McAvoy in Split,
Mm.
arguing with himself.
Yeah, do you feel like I didn't take enough initiative in my conversation so that it was more one on one and controlled as opposed to, you bouncing back and forth between your
No,
different characters?
I would say that I had a plan early on, but obviously the plan, divulges a little bit, and it's like, how do you initiate a conversation like this? How do you coin in without interrupting, which is impossible to do
Yeah.
because obviously some would be outraged about other things and blah 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 that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely looking forward to this second interview and conversation where we can. I definitely have this far more planned and thought out on what is going to be asked of you.
Yeah, the questionnaire. The questionnaire of
Yes.
all questionnaires. Okay. Um, cool. Then, favorite moments for you, because I think you were being up on yourself. I actually thought you were doing fine. You had a tough task to do, which was bounce back and forth between Oslam and the student and the master for a good portion of the episode. I think you're your harshest critic in that in respect. But any things that you're like, damn, that's kind of dope in the episode, or things that you didn't expect per se.
I mean, asking them to swear a vow after telling them to leave a vow is always fun. It's like, I could definitely see some people just, yep, I'm riding this train now and I'm riding that train now. Then there's other characters that be like, you know what? I think I'm done. I think I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna do this anymore.
I see what you're saying. I think I look at it a little differently. Whereas, like, one oath was more based in like ideology and how they must act accordingly, and this one is just kind of like an attainable goal. I just told them to leave, and basically, once they leave, the oath is kind of fulfilled. Like, all they have to do is literally not come back. But other than that, they retain all sense of freedom, and they can act accordingly however they want. And like you said, that's going to be on me now because they took the oath, and so their actions kind of reflect on me in some respects. But no, I see what I do. Think I do agree that it is an oath for an oath, a deal for a deal of sorts. Um, but one is far more finite, I suppose, than the other.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yep. I did like my prayer. I took a little bit to think about it, obviously, but I thought that was cool. Cool. I like a good rhyme, man. I like a good rhyme. Um, let's see what
Rhymes are
else.
they're tight, man. They're tight.
Amun did not expect that little bastard to have the rib. That's just
That's
like
my favorite part, actually. That you
that's
asked about that. I was like, "Fuck, he's gonna find out now."
yep,
Damn it!
yep. So I was like, because you made it's so broken, Ray. You made the thing so broken. So I'm
I
like, I
did.
keep thinking of like, what should I milk it on? What should I milk it on? And hey yo, but no, that map is so cool, and I gotta keep thinking of more things that I would want to see, uh, just because it's so I don't know, it's cool. It's cool, man.
Yeah, I have other things planned on the you just going across the city in specific points. There will be changes happening during the interview where your web weaver will be making some changes because, well, Isaiah, this thing's a little old and powerful, and it hasn't been in these places for a long time. Some things been destroyed and decrepit, and this city's got to be returned to the glory it once used to be.
I don't know what the fuck that means, but I'll take your word for it, man. It's kind of scary.
Means
Uh,
you woke up the old heart of Jabaxi, and you know what? I think that blood is pumping, baby.
it's flowing. It's flowing.
Oh yes.
Circulation. Uh, let me see here. That is cool, but nonetheless, I am nervous for the interview that's coming up. Oh, I was gonna ask, am I attuned to the web weaver yet to the point where I can recall it?
Yes, you are.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Then let me see what else. Other things that I liked in the episode. Yeah, Amun obviously being the sus uncle. Love Ion content. Ion content is premium. It's great. It's fun. She's super cool. Uh, let's see here. Really didn't have any expectations of how that interview was going to go with the student and the master. I didn't really have a clear goal in mind. I didn't at the outset think like, oh, give them forgiveness. I do know that I wanted to get information, but I'm like, how do I facilitate all of this information? And then I had to really just think about it. But yeah, that was cool. I did like how that played out. Um, Zone of Truth is a fun spell, and Euros are fun spells.
Yeah. The stresses of surviving a deadly encounter can definitely result in people making ridiculous decisions. And if you give them any type of ease, that can go a long way.
God bless. God bless. Yeah. So this was cool. Very fun. I liked this episode. And how much do I heal for a health potion? I didn't key in the healing actually. Is that a D8? Is that 2D4?
It's going to be 2d4 plus 2.
Do I add my Constitution modifier?
You do not.
4 plus 2 is 6. I'll heal 6 HP. Yeah, that basically negated all the damage I took from those masks.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
How bad can it be? Bro. Yeah. Okay, cool. That was fun. Thank you for the good times, Ray. Appreciate it. And we can wrap this episode here. Call it a day. Call it good.
God bless.
And all right, everyone. You have a good one. Talk to you later. Goodbye.